Sukuh Temple. My name is Anandita Azzahra Ermani, and you can call me Ara as your guide today. I hope you guys will enjoy this tour. Also, you can use camera to take a picture, and don't forget to bring your mineral water. If you have any question or request, let me know so I can answer your question or help with your request. Now I will explain about Sukuh Temple. Sukuh Temple is located on the west side of Mount Lawu in Sukuh of Perjo Village, Ngarijogoso, Subdistrict Karangaya Regency in Central Java Province. The temple is constructed on elevation, and this temple was discovered in damaged condition in 1815 by Johnson. Then, resident of Surakarta during Raffles administration, Sukuh Temple was further investigated by Vanderbilt in 1842, the results of which were recorded in Vanderbilt's book entitled From Inner Region of Sukuh on Tejo. Further researching works were conducted by Hovermans and were reported in a book entitled Hindu Audin Java, performed inventory works on this temple, which was continued by Knebel and WF. Stutterham, through the research in 1910, Sukuh is one of several temples built on the northwest slopes of Mount Lawu in the 15th century. By this time, Japanese religion and art had diverged from Indian precepts that had been so influential on temple styles during the 8th until 10th centuries. This was the last significant area of the temple building in Java before the island forts were converted to Islam in the 16th century. It is difficult for historians to interpret the significance of these antiquities due to the temple's district finish and the lack of records of Japanese ceremonies and beliefs of the era. The founder of Sukuh Temple thought that the slope of Mount Lao was a sacred place for worshipping the ancestor and nature spirits for the observance of the fertility cults. The monument was built around 1437 as written as phonogram date on the western gate, meaning that the area was under the rule of the Majapahit kingdom during its time. Some archaeologists believe the founder had cast a fall of Majapahit based on the reliefs that displaying the feud between two aristocratic houses, symbolizing two internal conflicts in the kingdom. In 1815, Sir Thomas Raffles, the ruler of Java, visited the temple and found it in bad condition. In his account, many statues had been thrown down on the ground and most of the figures had been decapitated. Raffles also found the giant Inca statue broken into two pieces, which was glued together. This symbolism of traditional culture, where sexuality is not suppressed as in these statues, is likely to be an effect of the Islamic invasion of Java during the 16th century. This, given the identical patterns found in all other Islamic and monotheistic invasions generally, Sukuh is a Hindu temple and was probably built in the end of the 15th century. Unlike that of typical Hindu temples in central Java, the architecture of Sukuh temple is considered to be departing from requirements stated in Vastu Media, a guidebook for constructing Hindu shrines. The book requires that a temple should be laid out on a square plane with the most sacred place located at the center. The deviation seems to be resulting from the fact that this temple was built when the influence of Hinduism was waning. The waning influence of the Hinduism had given rise to the revival of local cultural practices of Megalithic era. The influence of the prehistoric era is seen in the shape of Sukuh temple structure, which is terraced mound. Such shape is similar to step mound that is characteristic of pre-Hinduism shrines. Another characteristic of pre-Hinduism shrine is that the most sacred place is located on the highest and rearmost part. Scholars argue that Sukuh temple was built for purification rituals to repel or relieve evil power that affects the life of an individual for having particular spiritual characteristics. The argument is founded on stories of purification rituals such as Sudamala and Garuda depicted in the temple sculpture and on stages of the Chatra and Garuda found in the temple. Sukuh temple compound is laid out on the area comprising these terraces. Platform on each terrace is surrounded by stone wall 2 meters high. At a glance, this temple looks like a shrines belonging to the Maya in Mexico. The main and additional entrance gate lead to each terrace and the main building faces westward, which is different from typical Central Java temples. They face eastward. The three terraces are split into two right in the middle by an arrangement of stone blocks that form a stairway to the next terrace's entrance. The gate to the first terrace is Paduraksa, a roof gate. The gate frame is enclosed with long girded color relief decoration. The wall on the north side of the gate is adorned with sculpture depicting a man running while beating a snake. According to Casey Craft, the sculpture symbolizes Japanese fear that reads Gakura Buta Anak Buntut, or we can usually a giant gate with a snake's tail, representing the Japanese year, which is believed to be the year the temple construction was completed. Above the figure there a sculpture of a fine human-like creature and a reptile. The south side of the gate is adorned by a sculpture of a figure swallowed by a giant. The sculpture also symbolizes a Japanese year that read Gakura Putamangan Wong or giant gate that is a man. The symbol is interpreted as the Japanese year, the same as that on the north side of the gate. The outer wall of the gate is also embellished with sculpture of a pair of birds nestling on a tree, overlooking a duck and a garuda spreading its wings with a snake clasped in and its claws. On the front part outside the gate, there is a pile of stones in various sizes. Some have holes like pedestal and some others like water jug. The floor inside the entrance gate is emblazoned with a sculpture of palace and painted that nearly touch each other. The sculpture represents the unity between God and Yoni, the symbol of fertility. Today, railings are placed around the sculpture, making it difficult to pass through the gate. To access the first terrace, visitors use stairways next to the gate. It is believed that the sculpture served as the sukuh to purify any dirt that reside in the heart. That is why the sculptures are engraved on the floor in the entrance gate. People will pass through them, and therefore any dirt sticking on their body will be cleansed. Above the gate frame and facing the first terrace platform, there is a Kalamakara ornament which is already badly damaged. The north and south walls have sculpture of men holding in a weapon in squatting position. Platform on the first terrace, which is not wide, is split by stone blocks that form a walkway to the second terrace. To the north, there are stone panels that are placed in a row. The first panel carries sculpture of a man on a horseback, escorted by spearmen. Next to the horse is a man walking and carrying an umbrella. The second panel is engraved with sculpture of a pair of cows, while the third panel carries sculpture of a man riding an elephant. To the south of the platform, there are piles of stone blocks in various shapes and a number of windows. To the northeast or the rear part of platform on the second terrace, there is a Bentar gate or Riazuka gate with a roof flanking a stairway that leads to the third terrace. No sculpture or ornaments are found on the walls of this gate. This relatively small platform has neither statues nor relief. To the east or the rear section, there is another metal gate flanking a stairway to the third terrace. This gate is in heavily damaged condition. Pair of watercolor statues, which are already worn out, are placed in front of the gate. These two gate guarding statues are rarely carved with awkward and barely resound look, and they even look comical. The third and highest terrace is the most sacred place. Platform is split into two sections, north and south. A stone walkway that leads to a shrine on the back of the terrace. This platform has many stages and sculptured stone panels to the north or the front section of the platform. There are three stages of wingmen with the head of a Garuda in standing position, which spread only one of the three is still intact. The other two are headless. Inscriptions are found on the Garuda stages in the Japanese year. To the north, there is a row of stone panels, each with ornaments of elephant and cow sculpture. In front of the main building, slightly to the south, there is a stone post carrying a passage of Garuda myth. The upper part of the left corner contains inscription written in Kawi that read Kadamel Rikang Buku Tirtasunya, symbolizing the Javanese year or 1381. Garuda is the name of Garuda, an adopted child of Devi Vinata. The goddess has a sister, Kadru, who is also her husband's other wife. Kadru raised several adopted children who are snakes. Vinata was in a bed against Kadru, so she's become a slave to Kadru and her children. Garuda finds Tirtha Amirta that is required in the purification to set her mother free from the slavery. Relief telling Garuda's story can also be found on Kidal Temple in East Java, which was built by Anusapati to purify his mother Candace. According to the scholar Stanley O'Connor, the relief shows in visual terms the correspondence between mythology and human faith. Ironworking was a metaphor for spiritual transportation by illustrating the process through which the metallic substances are transformed, and then the sculpture has shown the connections between metallurgy and the liberation of the soul. Additionally, in the sculpture, it is the wild, energetic dance of Janus, the guardian of the soul, who breaks open a path for the soul to higher plane. The stone panels hold the relief of Sari adapted for Kidung Sudamala. Sudamala tells about Sadewa, one of the five brothers of Pandawa, who managed to free Devi Uma, the wife of Batara Guru, from a curse. Devi Uma was cursed by her husband because she cannot restrain her anger after her husband asked for her sexual intercourse at the time she considers to be inappropriate. For her furious anger, the goddess is cursed to the giant called Batari Durga. Batari Durga, pretending to be Kunti, the mother of Pandava, sees Sadewa and asks the knight to purify her. The story is narrated in five relief panels. The first panel depicts Kunti approaching her son Sadewa to ask him to purify Batari Durga. The second panel shows Bhima, the elder brother of the Sadewa, engaging in the fight against the giant. Bhima's left hand lifts the giant while right one piercing the opponent's belly using his Panchanaka nail. The third panel describes Sadewa who refused to purify Batari Durga. He's tied in a tree, Batari Durga stands in front of him, threatening with a sword. The fourth panel tells the marriage between Sadewa and Dewi Pradupa, who is gifted to him for purifying Batari Durga. The fifth panel shows Sadewa and his accompaniment appears before Dewi Uma, who he has already purified. A small shrine with a small statue inside is placed on the porch to the south of the stone. According to local mythology, the shrine represents the residency of Kyai Sukuh, who is the mana of Sukuh temple. In front of the main building, there are three big-sized tortoise statues. The statues tortoise, which can also be found in Sela temple, symbolize the underworld. The foot of Mount Mahameru, the main building, is trapezium laid off on 50 meters wide plane of 76-meter high. On the west side, on the building right in the center, there is a narrow and steep stairs leading to the roof. It seems that the remaining building is the temple's platform, while the temple itself was made of wood. The assumption is founded on the presence of some stone pedals on the platform. In the middle of the platform, there is a linga which the pair is kept in National Museum, Jakarta. Preservation of works of Suku Temple have been conducted since the Dutch era. The restoration works were carried out by the Archaeological Agency in 1970. The second were organized in the 1970s by the Department of Education and Culture. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I can explain about Suku Temple. Did you happy about this tour? Also, what is your favorite spot? Thank you very much for your attention and participation. Hope you guys will enjoy this tour. Don't forget to tell your family and friends about how beautiful Suku Temple is. See you on the next occasion. Thank you.